welcome to our new English home learning video for this week of the 11th of May. So this week we are going to be finishing the Tin Forest, and I will read you the whole of the story in a few minutes, and there will be a few different tasks for you to complete. So you'll probably need to pause the video at different points and maybe come back to some of the things in it the next day or later in the week, because there's quite a few different tasks to do. It'd be too much to probably do it all in one day. But if you do want to do anything extra to these tasks, you can. Now, I thought we'd just start off with one of the pictures that I'd had from the Tin Forest work from last week, where you had to make your own tin forest. So Julia sent me this one that she made here, look, with lots of screws and nuts and metal things that she found around her house. Absolutely fantastic work there from Julia. So let's remind ourselves of the whole story, and we'll read right to the end this week. There was once a wide windswept place near nowhere and close to forgotten that was filled with all the things that no one wanted. Right in the middle was a small house with small windows that looked out onto other people's bad rubbish and bad weather. In the house lived an old man. Every day he tried to tidy away the rubbish, sifting and sorting, burning and burying. And every night the old man dreamed. He dreamed he lived in a jungle full of wild forest animals. There were colourful birds, tropical trees, exotic flowers, toucans, tree frogs, and tigers. But when he awoke, his world outside was still the same. One day, something caught the old man's eye, and an idea planted itself in his head. The idea grew roots and sprouted. Feeding on the rubbish, it grew leaves, it grew branches, it grew bigger and bigger. Under the old man's hand, a forest emerged, a forest made of rubbish, a forest made of tin. It was not the forest of his dreams, but it was a forest just the same. Then one day, across the windswept plain, the wind swept a small bird. The old man spilled crumbs from his sandwiches onto the ground. The bird ate the crumbs and perched to sing in the branches of a tin tree. But the next morning the visitor was gone. All day the old man walked through the silence, and his heart ached with emptiness. That night, by the moonlight, he made a wish. So there is the old man, look, making his wish. What do you think he will wish for? So this is your first task. Write down what you think the old man will wish for. Pause the video and then press play when you're ready to carry on. Hope you've all had some really good ideas for your wishes there. So let's see what happens at the end of the story. In the morning, the old man woke to the sound of birdsong. The visitor had returned, and with him his mate. The birds dropped seeds from their beaks. Soon green shoots broke through the earth. I think he probably did wish that the bird came back. Time passed. Soon the song of the birds mingled with the buzzing of insects and the rustle of leaves. Small creatures appeared, creeping amongst the jungle of trees. Wild animals slipped through the green shadows. And look, there is the forest now beginning to grow. So we're going to have a good look at this picture in a minute. A bit more detail. This is how the story ends, though. There was once a forest near nowhere and close to forgotten that was filled with all the things that everyone wanted. And in the middle was a small house and an old man who had toucans, tree frogs, and tigers in his garden. Okay, so here is the forest that grew now in the old man's garden. So hopefully you've had a chance to have a good look at that. First thing I want you to do is to spot how many different creatures you can see in this picture and write them all down. So you can definitely spot that bird, and that bird's name is a toucan. So you can spot that one. But what else can you spot? Pause the video while you write down the names of all the animals that you can see in this picture. Okay, so let's have a look at some of them that I spotted. Okay, so I spotted toucan, butterfly, tiger, cat, although I didn't know if that was still trying to be a tiger, a lizard, snakes, lots of snakes, different birds, frog, ladybird, lots of different bugs in there. You might have some extra ones on your list to me. Okay, so let's have a look at our first task now, first writing task that I'd like you to complete. So this is your first task. Research any of these creatures that were found in the forest. So the toucan, the butterflies, the snakes, the frogs, the tigers, any of those things. And I want you to create a fact file or an information page about one of those creatures. And remember, if you did the dragon video right at the beginning when we first started home learning, try and remember some of those things from when we did the dragon report for your ideas. Maybe make me a double page spread about one of your creatures. You could make me a leaflet. You could do me a poster. You could make a PowerPoint with all your information about one of those different creatures. So you'll probably need to pause the video for today. This can be your first task for today. And then you can come back to the video later in the week to see what other tasks are on there. Although if you are working really hard today and you're on a roll, feel free to carry on watching the rest of the video once you've done this task. Okay, so this is the second task. So this might be a brand new day for you now. Task 2. Imagine you visited this forest. Write a postcard home from the forest. Okay, so your job is to write a postcard. Imagine you've been to the forest on a holiday or you've been to the forest for a little visit and now you're going to write a postcard home. Okay, now postcards have a picture on one side and the writing and the address on the other side. So you can see a few examples here of postcards. So they've got the picture on one side and then on the back it's been split in half. You put your address and you stamp here and then you do your writing about what the kind of things have happened on your holiday or your visit in this part of the postcard. So I'd like you to do both parts of the postcard, a picture on one side and the writing, and practice putting your own address there. Great practice to learn your own address and how to write it properly too. Okay, so this is what you need to have in your postcard. It needs to follow this structure. I'll just hide myself so we can see. So start off with a greeting. So who are you going to write it to? So things like, hi mum, hi dad, hi grandma, hi whichever brother or sister, or dear whoever, or to whoever. So your first line is a greeting. And then you start a new line. First sentence, talk about what you've seen and what you've done. So you might start something like, today I have been to a beautiful lush green forest full of different creatures. So talk about some of the things you've seen and done. That's your first sentence. Your second sentence is any surprises that you've had. So I think maybe starting with, when I got inside, a huge snake was winding its way up one of the branches and shocked me a little bit. So think about what surprises you might have had. Third sentence, talk about what you have or you haven't enjoyed. So you might really love this trip to the forest, or you might not have liked this trip to the forest quite so much. So you can have things, the best bit was, the worst bit, some of those things. Next sentence, say what you're going to do the next day. So what you're still planning to do on the rest of your visit to this forest. Tomorrow I will, whatever you want to choose. And then sign yourself off with a nice message. So it can be, wish you were here, or miss you, see you soon, from, and then put your name at the end of it. Okay, so you'll probably need to pause the video now so that you can keep this structure up, so that you know how to set yourself off on your postcard. And then remember, when you've done your postcard, You put all that information on one side and your address on the same side, and on the back you draw a picture. Maybe try and copy the picture from the forest. You have to rewind the video to have a look at the picture. Okay. So when you've finished any of these tasks, please send them to me by email. I get lots of lovely work from people. It's fantastic to see. Or you can also share them on the school Twitter page at Newlands_PS. I know some people have been doing Mrs. Prince's challenges and seeing them pop up on Twitter. That's another good way to share them. Okay, so feel free to rewind the video if you need to find different tasks from this week. Lots of English work to keep you busy this week in there. I look forward to seeing lots of it. Bye for now.